There are three places on a warship where people tell the truth: the medical bay, the chaplain's office, and my barber chair. The difference is medical has confidentiality regulations, the chaplain has a moral code, and I have a pair of scissors and a talent for nodding at the right moments. My name is Dex Morales. I've been cutting hair on the ISS Persistence for 4 years. 12,000 crew, and about 8,000 come through my shop on rotation. Every single one of them, the moment I put the cape on, starts talking. Something about someone touching your head while you stare at yourself in the mirror just opens the floodgates. All I do is say, "So what's new?" And suddenly I'm hearing about broken engagements, transfer requests, and the real reason Deck 7 smelled like burned rubber for a week. I keep it all in my head. Never write anything down, that's rule number 1. Rule number 2 is I never repeat what I hear, not even vague versions. Hank the cook comes in every 2 weeks and tells me about supply chain drama in which officers sneak extra dessert rations. Reese the janitor gives me the real maintenance reports, the honest version of what's actually broken on this ship. Engineers tell me about design flaws. Officers tell me about orders they disagree with. Enlisted crew tell me about the betting pool on when the captain will lose her temper over the Gate Corridor 7 situation. The over-under is 6 weeks. Smart money says under. The problem with knowing everything is that sometimes you know something you wish you didn't. 2 weeks ago, Commander Hayes sat down for his regular fade and mentioned he'd put in for a transfer to a desk job at Compact Command. Hayes has been the executive officer for 7 years. He's the glue. If he leaves, half the senior staff follows within a year. I also know because Lieutenant Commander Osa told me during her trim that she's recommending Hayes for a commendation, which makes a transfer impossible because you can't leave during an active review. She doesn't know he wants to leave. He doesn't know about the commendation, and I know both things and can't say a word because rule number 2. I went home and stared at the ceiling for 3 hours. Reese knocked on my wall. "You okay?" I said yes. He said, "Liar, I can hear you thinking." I needed a way to fix this without breaking my rules. The ship's rec committee was organizing a senior staff dinner. I volunteered for the seating chart, not a normal barber duty, but nobody questioned it. I put Hayes and Osai next to each other. Across from them, I put Unit 7, our Mechari exchange officer, who has absolutely no ability to avoid stating obvious truths in social settings. My plan was simple: 2 people with secrets, 1 alien that senses emotions, add dinner and drinks. Hank was catering. His food makes people happy and honest. Everything was in place. It worked better and worse than I planned. Unit 7, halfway through the main course, looked at Hayes and said, "Commander, your emotional state is inconsistent with someone enjoying this meal. You are contemplating a significant life change and experiencing guilt." The table went silent. Then Unit 7 turned to Osai. "You are experiencing anticipation related to a professional action that will affect the commander. You are unaware that his plans conflict with yours." Osai looked at Hayes. Hayes looked at Osa. I looked at my plate. There was a long conversation after dinner that I was not part of because I was in the kitchen helping Hank clean up. He looked at me and said, "You're smiling into the dishwater." I said I just like doing dishes. He said, "Liar." Everyone on this ship calls me a liar, which is ironic because I'm the one person who never repeats what he hears. Hayes withdrew his transfer request the next day. Osai submitted the commendation. I don't know what they said to each other, and I don't need to. That's not my business. My business is haircuts. Hayes came in the following week for his regular fade. He sat down, I put the cape on, and he said, "Dex, did you have anything to do with that seating chart?" I said, "I just help where I'm needed, Commander." He looked at me in the mirror for a long time. Then he said, "A little shorter on the sides this time?" And that was that. Keeps moving. People keep sitting in my chair. Hank sends me leftovers because he knows I skip lunch. Reese knocks on my wall when I'm too quiet, and I keep cutting hair, nodding at the right moments and knowing things I'll never repeat. 12,000 people think their secret is safe with me. It is. That's not a job. That's a promise. Last week, a new ensign came in for her first haircut on the Persistence. She was nervous. You could tell bouncing her knee, watching the door. I put the cape on. I picked up the scissors, and I said what I always say. "So, what's new?" She took a breath, and she started talking. They always do.